Hello, everyone, and welcome to session 3 of the first day of Event Tech Live US and Canada. Joining me today in this session is Oystein Teslo, VP of Growth at Joymo TV, sports fanatic, and knows a hell of a lot about digital transformation and marketing. Oystein is going to be talking to us today about the long and short of OTT. Oystein, over to you.
Thank you so much, Adam. Welcome everyone that's tuning in around the world. My name is Oystein Teslo. I'm the VP of Growth and Partnerships at Joymo TV. Today I'm going to talk about the long and short of OTT, or over-the-top streaming in the sports industry. I'm especially excited to talk about this topic. There's a couple of reasons. One is there's so much happening in this space at the moment, and also OTT is expected to continually drastically changing the sports industry going forward. Joymo TV, we are an OTT streaming platform. We've been around since 2016. Our headquarters is in Oslo. I'm tuning in from beautiful Norway today. It's a sunny day in Norway, but we're a streaming platform that specializes on sports. So we help all types of sports broadcast their valuable content to passionate fans around the world. And what we've done is that we have developed a streaming platform, but we also developed tools to help our customers actually stream content as well. One of them being an app where you can actually stream content directly from a smartphone or tablet with an app that actually has scoreboard and timer built in as well. We actually have customers all around the world. We have customers both in Canada and the US, but also in 15 countries overall. And we also have more than 20 different sports that is using our platform today to share their content with their fans. And streaming is actually not as new as you might think, the concept of streaming sports. The first digital sports stream actually took place over 25 years ago. In 1995, ESPN Sports Zone streamed a live broadcast of a baseball game between Seattle Mariners and the New York Yankees. And they received thousands of viewers, or listeners actually, because this was radio at the time. They had thousands of listeners worldwide. And they did this by working with a local startup in Seattle called Progressive Networks. And this baseball game was considered the first online live streaming event in the world. The innovative sports market streaming has developed rapidly since, and it's been attractive to both tech companies, but also media companies. And there's been so many players that have entered the market to evolve the streaming experience for fans out there. So streaming started with radio, but it quickly evolved to be more about video. So if you look at the evolution of live streaming of sports, one of the first movers in the space was actually Major League Baseball. And in 2002, they launched MLB TV. And they actually did their first live stream in 2002. And at the time, it was this small, grainy video player that would have probably had no chance pleasing viewers today, given the fact that now we have high quality streams accessible from our smartphones. But MLB TV really became the first mover in this space and really led the way in terms of streaming sports through video. 10 years later, MLB TV was a major streaming platform with 1.1 million live streams per day and had a total of over 27 million mobile live streams during the year. And then moving on, in 2015, the Seattle Reign of the National Women's Soccer League became one of the first clubs to actually stream a game directly to fans using the Periscope app. The same year, Yahoo streamed the first NFL game with an average of 2.3 million viewers. According to Yahoo, they delivered over 33 million streams of the game across TV, laptop, smartphones, and a third of the streams came from international viewers, as the game was available in over 180 countries. And during last year, we reached a new milestone when it comes to sports streaming with the famous NBA bubble. The bubble was created by NBA to protect its players from the pandemic during the final games of the regular season, but also throughout the playoffs. The bubble actually was a $190 million investment by the NBA, And who cannot forget the virtual fans being shown alongside the game, and a new era within streaming was born. The fact that actually fans can be shown during the game on the sidelines through digital screens. And why is this important to speak about streaming when it comes to sport? The reason why is that direct-to-consumer streaming can become a vital source of revenue for all sports via subscriptions, advertising, and data. This is very important to speak about because typically you think about the big sports rights deals out there when you think about streaming of sports. But there's so many other sports organizations out there that has a need to stream and also has a need to generate revenue from their content. And streaming will be a very important factor in that to make that happen. And we're actually in the middle of a streaming revolution. And according to Grand View Research, the global video streaming market is expected to reach 224 billion by 2028. And there's a few factors that is driving this insane growth. And a couple is the rising tech advancements. That includes the implementation of blockchain technology and video streaming, and also the use of AI to improve the video quality. These two factors are expected to boost the demand in the market for the next 7 years. But what we're seeing actually happening today is the growing adoption of cloud-based video streaming solutions for increasing the reach of video content, which will impact the growth in terms of global streaming within sports. And in terms of actually watching content, more and more people in the US is moving to digital channels to watch live sports. And according to eMarketer, 41.7 million people in the US will watch live sports via digital channels in 2021. And this number basically includes people that watch sports on a monthly basis. So this is not just a one-off video on one channel. This is actually consistent viewing behavior through digital channels. And this number is obviously expected to grow as well. And according to eMarketer, we're expected to reach almost 50 million people in the US that will watch live sports through digital channels. Again, this also states how important it is for sports organizations out there to look to streaming, to really engage with fans, but also to look at revenue streams from streaming as well. So just to speak about streaming today and OTT streaming, what's causing the growth? How are we actually able to reach the numbers that we're speaking of? And it all boils down to technology, and technology developing at a rapid pace. So if you think about the 1995 streaming through radio of a baseball game, the game has changed dramatically since then. Now we have the ability to watch content directly from our smartphones. We're able to actually share content directly from our smartphones. And also cord cutting is actually accelerating. And just the latest numbers is that over 46 million households in the US will have cut their cord by 2024. So there's just more and more people looking to digital channels to watch content. And the rise of 5G will make it even easier to create content, given the fact that the majority of the internet bandwidth is actually video today. And the fact that 5G is coming to the market means that we're able to deliver more high quality content through the 5G network. And that brings us to the last point, which is mobile first viewing experiences. As I mentioned a couple of times already, we have like the fans out there is expecting to watch high quality content from their smartphones. And also the smartphone is also becoming an important video production tool. So you don't need to have expensive camera equipment to produce good quality content and actually to stream good quality content. And we can't go without speaking about the pandemic when it comes to the digital transformation in the sports industry. It has really accelerated the growth in the OTT space. There's an increased demand for OTT services, whether that's a sports organization creating their own OTT platform or sports organizations looking to OTT service providers to get started and actually connecting with their fans that are not able to come to their events. And sport fans are now expecting video content to be available whenever, wherever. Not having to go to the actual physical event, but having the chance to actually sit at home and watch the content, or when they're on the go. And we've also seen the rise of hybrid events, given the fact that, one, there's restrictions on spectators potentially, but there's also people out there that are less willing to be at the event. So there's a need to create hybrid events also going forward with a more or less identical experience for both digital and the physical participants. But there actually is a few benefits of the hybrid events that you have to think about. One is it can be more profitable, since there's no limits to the number of virtual attendees at a hybrid event, just like we're doing today. And it's accessible for a whole new market. You can actually discover that you have fans outside of what you usually had when you only had the physical event by doing hybrid events. And you can also make the content accessible on demand. And when it comes to streaming, what we're seeing is that the direct-to-consumer model is on the rise. What that means is that sports organizations is investing a bigger portion of their budgets to either develop their own streaming platform or working with an OTT streaming service to actually have direct connection with their fan base through their streaming strategy. And MediaKind did research with over 40 sports rights holders, and one of the findings is that the direct-to-consumer subscription model is likely going to be the dominant long-term business model within sports. And there's a lot of benefits of going direct-to-consumer when it comes to streaming. And one of them is the engagement with your fan base. This is a major benefit for sports organizations. The fact that you can actually have deeper engagement with your fans. You can also have a direct relationship, which meaning that you can really get the better understanding of your audience, what they want to watch, and how they feel about the content that you're creating. And you can also engage, as I said, with fans all over the world. It doesn't have to be those that typically went to your physical event. It can be fans from different countries and places that you haven't touched before. Commercial opportunities is the second piece. So with the direct consumer model, you can open up new commercial opportunities for your sports organization, whether that is selling pay-per-view tickets, advertising opportunities to your sponsors, or merchandise to fans that are actually watching your content. The third piece is control of your content and data. By having a direct-to-consumer model, you can have better control of the content that you share with your fans and the quality of the content that you share. And when you actually stream more, you get more valuable data in terms of content engagement and also the audience insights. And improved viewing experience. As I spoke about, the fact that you have deeper and direct engagement with your fans, you can really evolve the type of content that you're developing and sharing with the fan base based on the feedback that you're getting from them as you stream more content. But how do you go about creating a direct-to-consumer streaming offering for your sport? This is obviously a challenging task, but I think it's very important to start thinking about it. This is the moment. You're seeing that we're in the middle of a streaming revolution, so it's more important than ever that you actually tune in and actually think about this. And there's a couple of options that you have to think about. One is, should I create my own in-house streaming platform? Or two, should I invest in an OTT streaming service that can fit my needs? Building your own OTT solution can be exciting, but it can also be costly and time-consuming in an industry that is quickly evolving. A great option for many sports organizations out there is to partner with an existing OTT streaming service. And why would you do that? Why would you actually partner with a streaming service compared to actually doing it on your own? And there's a few reasons why. One is to tap into established expertise and technology. Building your own OTT solution requires development and maintenance of technology to stay competitive. You need to have a staff in place. You need to invest in the technology itself. But once it's launched, the job is not done. You need to continuously improve and evolve the service to your fan base. So if you actually tap into an OTT streaming service or partner with an OTT streaming service, you can utilize their expertise and technology and be part of the ride as they are actually developing their own technology. You can get to market quickly because developing your own solution, it can take months, if not quarters, to actually launch and be ready to go with your own OTT streaming platform. And your consumers are there. They're ready to watch content here and now. They don't want to wait months and months to actually be able to access your content. So that's another reason why you should consider an OTT streaming service. The third piece is actually reduce the amount of resources and cost. I touched on this already, but the fact that you have to employ your own staff and you have to continuously evolve your streaming offering if you develop your own in-house streaming platform, it can be risky and it can be time consuming and it requires a lot of investment on your part. And the fourth piece is just managing risk. So launching an OTT platform in-house is a complex task and it comes with a lot of risk attached to it. But you can actually manage this risk effectively by partnering with an OTT streaming service, because then it's a bit on them to actually manage that risk on your behalf. Obviously, it's a partnership, but a lot of the risk is actually taken away from your organization when it comes to the technical development and support to the fan base, etc. And the last piece is just future-proofing your sports organization. So OTT streaming services, there are quite a few of them out there, but they're constantly evolving their platforms, whether it's by offering new streaming technologies, analytics reporting, or through partnerships with other technology companies to evolve their service. And all of these innovations will basically have direct impact on your business if you work with a streaming service. And obviously, I spoke a lot about like why you should consider an OTT streaming service versus building your own. But how do you go about choosing one? Because as I said, there's a lot of offerings out there and there's a lot of players coming into the space given the rapid growth that's happening right now. So there's a few things to consider when choosing an OTT streaming service. A few of them are listed here. So questions to think about when you're doing your research and speaking with service providers before you end up choosing one. The first piece is actually who owns the content rights. Your content has a lot of value and you really need to think about, am I owning the content rights if I stream on platform X versus platform Y? And if you're able to maintain ownership of your content rights, there will be a lot of revenue opportunities that will open up. One of them can be advertising, right? So if you actually advertise, or if you stream on the typical social media channels out there, you give away your content rights to those platforms. But if you actually choose a streaming provider that actually gives you the content rights or help you maintain your content rights, you can really make sure that you maximize the revenue opportunity that exists there. And this is also around like data protection and data privacy. Like if you maintain ownership of your content rights, you have better control when it comes to data management. The second piece is around monetization. So how can you monetize your content on the streaming platform? So there's a lot of opportunities that can exist within a streaming service when it comes to monetization. One of the obvious ones is subscriptions and pay-per-view ticketing. And does the streaming service actually provide that opportunity? I think that's the first thing to look at. But if you look beyond that, what other monetization opportunities exist within the OTT service? Do they have advertising opportunities for your sponsors? Can you integrate sponsors into your streams, whether that's a pre-roll video ad or whether that's halftime advertising there, where you can actually highlight the match day sponsor, for example? This is very important to think about because I can't tell you how many times I see content being streamed on social media channels and their sponsors cannot advertise on it because the content rights belongs to those platforms. And in terms of data management and how the data is being stored is increasingly important. Consumers out there are becoming more and more aware of their rights online. And you have to take this into consideration when you actually start to stream. How is my data being managed? And can I trust this platform with my data? This is extremely important to think about. And it's going to be even more important in the future. So it's best to get ahead of that game and ahead of that movement in terms of making sure that your data being treated correctly. And then how can your members engage with the video content? Because the video content has value to your fans, but it also has a lot of value to your members, whether that's athletes, coaches, referees, etc. So you really have to think about, is the video content accessible for my members? And how is it accessible? Can they get access to highlight videos from the streams? Can they have access to analysis tools, etc.? So you really need to think about your members as well in this, not just the fans, not just the financials, but actually how do you make sure that your members are happy and that they can use the video content to their advantage. One of the last questions is just in terms of technology. So how advanced is the technology and the product roadmap? I think the question I get a lot when I talk with governing bodies and sports organizations is regarding our product roadmap, our future product roadmap. And I think that's a very important question to ask. Like, one, how scalable and how advanced is the technology today, but how does the future look like? If I partner with you, what type of journey am I signing up for? Is there a lot of new exciting features coming down the line? Or is the platform expected to be as is for a longer term? So really dig down into the details when it comes to the technology that the platform is built on, but also how does the future look like for the service provider? So to finish off, just in terms of Joimo TV, how we help sports organizations. So within my role, I speak with sports organizations around the world in the US and in Canada. And what I see now with the rise of streaming, but also given the fact of COVID and the pandemic, how that has impacted the sports community, is that there's an increasingly demand for streaming services. And we try to help our customers in the best way possible to actually get started with streaming, whether that's streaming with your smartphone, an automated camera, or actually using your own high-end video production. We have tailored solutions that help you to actually activate your content and actually sharing your content through our streaming platform. We understand that there's a pressing need to find easy and cost-effective solutions out there. A lot of sporting organizations do not have these large broadcasting rights deals that they can rely on for revenue. So we have tried to develop a platform that's easy and cost-effective, so you can get started without having massive budgets behind the initiative. Third piece is actually what I spoke about, is the content rights. So I think this is extremely important to think about. Maintaining full ownership of your content rights will unlock a lot of revenue opportunity for your organization. And what we do at Joimo is actually we give all the content ownership to our customers. So when you stream on our platform, your sponsors can actually advertise on that content. We don't sell advertising to other players. We give that right to our customers. And then when it comes to data management, so we have taken this as our highest priority when developing our platform, is to ensure that our content, or your content, is being safely and securely stored on our streaming platform. But then it comes to the revenue side. I mentioned sponsorships that they can actually advertise on your content, but actually generating income from pay-per-view tickets is one piece, but you can actually also sell pay-per tournament tickets and pay-per season tickets through our platform. So with that, I just want to say thank you for everyone that tuned in to listen to this session. And I want to open up for questions. But if you want to connect after the event, feel free to reach out to me on LinkedIn, or teslo@joimo.tv, and I'll be happy to have a conversation with you about the OTT streaming landscape, or about how to get started with streaming for your sports organization. Thank you so much.
Øystein, fantastic session. I learned a huge amount there about streaming and the revenue opportunities for sports organizations. We do have a couple of questions which I'd like to fire at you before the end of the session. The first one here is actually, do you think there'll be a physical side to sporting events in the future? And the example that they gave was the recent Floyd Mayweather and Logan Paul fight, where some people were actually complaining they bought like second row seats paying in excess of $700 plus all the cost of actually traveling to the venue and couldn't really see the action taking place. So does that argue that actually it's better for the sporting organisation and better for the actual participant to have that service, whereas the physical element of the sporting event is a little bit less of a good experience? What's your opinion on that? Will sporting events still have a physical side to it?
I definitely think so. If you look to soccer and the Premier League, as soon as the fans returned to the stadium, the game evolved. It's an important part of the actual experience when you watch the content as well, having the fans present. Like if you compare the NBA bubble with the regular NBA playoff game, having the crowd noise when it's actually actioning happening, you get that through the experience when you watch a stream. So I really think that there's an element of having people at the venue and having those hybrid events that I spoke about, and that will continue. I think it's important just the fact that you actually have hybrid events, that you have a physical experience that is pleasing for the fans, but you have also a streaming experience that is close to as equal as being there physically.
I'm glad to hear that, because I must admit I do like sitting in the stands myself with a beer if I can, and watching the game live and stuff like that. There is nothing better than that feeling of being in the stadium. And our final question is kind of asking you to look into, I guess, your crystal ball a little bit. But what does streaming look like to you in the next 10 years? Will we still watching it on kind of our second devices, iPads, TVs, mobile phones? Or will it be maybe a little bit more immersive in maybe a VR environment and stuff? What does the next 10 years of streaming look like to you?
I think VR will have a big part to play. As we spoke about, how can we actually replicate the experience of being at the venue and getting the experience of hearing the crowd around you while sitting at home? I think VR will have an important part to play there. So I think that will be one of the key components that I would think about when I look at the future of streaming. We've seen a lot of experiences around that, but I think it's too early to tell how the experience will actually look like. But I think it's about replicating that experience, bringing that to the home, so you can actually sit at home and get a sense that you're there present. Other than that, I think it's hard to tell, but I think the type of screens that we interact with will potentially change. Whether that's just putting a screen wherever you are, whether it's using glasses actually to put them on and actually watch the streams from smart glass technology. But it's just exciting. I think just the fact that we've come to this place so quickly from 1995 to now, I think it just shows what the future can bring to us. And I'm just really excited to be part of that journey.
Yeah, me too. I'm really excited to see what comes down the road in terms of streaming. Øystein, thank you very much for delivering this session for us today. Anybody that's watching, please do reach out to him on the platform if you have any more follow-up questions. And for the attendees, we'll see you in the next session.